Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another Instant Deck Tech. So as you know, Thursday means it's Tier 1 Thursday, and this week we're looking at a new twist on a deck that has been in the top tier of Standard for quite a while now. So zombies have been white-black or mostly mono-black for pretty much as long as they've been a thing in Standard. But now, with the addition of Hour of Devastation to the Standard format, we're seeing blue-black zombies. This specific build of blue-black zombies comes to us from Dustin Thornton, who I believe took it to a top 8 finish at our recent SCG Classic, so congrats to Dustin on a super sweet deck. A quick reminder before we break down blue-black zombies for Standard. If you enjoy this deck and you want to see it made into videos, take a minute, click the like button, the subscribe button, leave a comment, anything you can do to support your deck, because whichever deck is most popular gets a shot at being made into videos next week. So, blue-black zombies is unique because of two cards primarily. A lot of this is like the traditional zombie deck, but the big additions are the Scarab God for one, and the Scarab God is pretty powerful as the top end of the curve in a zombie deck. So it's expensive. Most of the time, zombies are kind of curving out to 3 mana and then having Liliana's Mastery as the top end of the curve, but Scarab God gives us an additional 5-drop, and it can be super powerful. So the big deal with the Scarab God in zombies isn't so much the Eternalize ability. In a lot of decks, I think that's a big calling card, being able to pay 4 mana, get a 4/4 copy of a creature from a graveyard. But in this deck in specific, the big deal here is how the Scarab God gives zombies a way to finish off the game without attacking with its first ability, the ability to just drain the opponent out of the game super quickly. One thing zombies is really good at is making a lot of zombies. They have a lot of cards that make multiple zombies or come back from the graveyard, so it's pretty easy to get 5, 6, 7, 8 zombies on the battlefield, and then the Scarab God only takes 2 or 3 turns to just drain the opponent out of the game, and even better, you're getting to scry as that happens, so if you need a specific answer, you want a discard spell, a removal spell, even just another good zombie, pretty good chance that you'll find it with the Scarab God scrying. Plus, when everything goes wrong, the board gets wrath, we can always turn to the Eternalize ability to help us stay in the game, because Scarab God is really hard to kill on its own, so it's going to keep bouncing back to our hand, and we can feed on our other cards in the graveyard to have this constant stream of 4/4s if our opponent manages to wrath our board with Hour of Devastation or something. The other new addition in the blue-black version of zombies is Gisa and Geralf, which has been in the format for a long time, hasn't really seen play in the zombie deck, but it works surprisingly well with the Scarab God. When it enters the battlefield, we mill 4. During each of our turns, we can cast a zombie from our graveyard. So this kind of does 2 things with Gisa and Geralf. First, it fuels itself. We mill our zombie lords, our relentless deads, our good zombies, and we can play one of them. Plus, it gets more cards in our graveyard for our Scarab God that we can then use to Eternalize and get back that way as well. So another interesting addition at the top of our curve. As a 4/4 for 4, I mean, it's roughly on curve, and if it just sits out on the battlefield, like the Scarab God, it gives us a really good way of going long if our opponent manages to wrath our board or disrupt our main plan. So for the rest of the deck, it's pretty typical zombie stuff. Crypt Breaker, insanely good. The engine card of the deck. Talk about going long. The ability to draw so many cards with an aggro deck makes zombies really unique. It makes an army all by itself, discarding useless lands, and we just tap those zombies that we make to draw a bunch of cards. Super good. Dread Wanderer, another recursive threat, lets us get our aggro starts as a Savannah Lions. Relentless Dead, also a good grindy zombie coming back from our graveyard, generating value. It seems like this build of the deck with the Scarab God and Gisa and Geralf thrown in is even harder to beat in the long game than the earlier builds of zombies, which were pretty decent going long on their own. And then we have Diregraph Colossus, an army in the can, comes in pretty huge, works well with Gisa and Geralf because Gisa and Geralf mill stuff, so there's more zombies in our graveyard for Diregraph Colossus, and then it just makes zombies every time we cast a zombie. Lord of the Accursed is one of our finishers, pumping our zombies, menacing up the team to get in a bunch of damage, and then we still have 2 Liliana's Masteries, so this is kind of the cut of the deck. To make room for the Scarab God and Gisa of Geralf is we have less copies of Liliana Mastery to lean on. Whether or not this becomes standard in the primary build of zombies zombies, we'll have to wait and see. Liliana's mastery is very strong. 6 power and toughness across 2 bodies is not bad. Plus, it pumps all of our other zombies, which is really insane. So we'll have to see, after playing this deck for a while, where players end up. Do they want more Liliana's masteries, more Scarab Gods? So right now we have an interesting mix, and kind of works well in any way a matchup can go. So if we need to beat down, Liliana's mastery is way better than the Scarab God because it pumps our team. We can potentially just alpha strike in one attack. If we're looking to go long, we don't have any zombies on the battlefield, not much to Anthem, then the Scarab God gives us another sweet option for the late game. As far as removal, Dark Salvation ended up being a great zombie removal cell. Not only does it kill things, and we have a bunch of zombies on the battlefield, it kills anything, but makes some zombies as well in the late game when we get a bunch of mana. Fatal Push and Grasp of Darkness for the early game. Mana base wise, all the blue-black duels in Standard for the most part, and a bunch of Swamp, so it's pretty easy to splash an additional color. Choked Estuary and Sunken Hollow should come in untapped most of the time. Fetid Pools we can always cycle away if the situation calls for it. In the sideboard, we got a bunch of things for control matchups. Scrabheap Scrounger, another great recursive threat that's really hard for control decks to deal with. Sky Sovereign survives wraths, also good against aggro, shooting down creatures. Obnixilis and Liliana, more hard to deal with, potentially game-winning threats that just sit out on the battlefield. Then we have Kalitas for some lifelink and graveyard hate. Never to Return is additional removal, and some negates, which is another big gain for going blue with a zombie deck, is having access to a really powerful counter spell out of the sideboard. And that is blue-black zombies for Standard, and that's our instant deck tech for today. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, help us out by clicking that like button down below. And to keep up on all the latest and greatest, click that subscribe button. And don't forget to hit that bell icon to get alerts whenever we have new videos. And if you want to, check out some of our other sweet videos here and here.